behind the scenes with future country rock blues kings and queens. Discover them first with Paul Mash TV. Paul Mash TV.
Well, hello there. It's Paul Mash TV time. Thank you so much for joining us. We've got another great interview coming up shortly. But before we get into that, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click the bell. And anytime a new interview comes your way, you'll be notified. And as always, leave a comment on the comment section if you'd like. We'd love to hear from you there. And if you're on Facebook, go to facebook.com/PaulMashTV. And this is our official page. Just feel free to follow us there, comment on the things you see, even send us an inbox. And if you'd like to email us as well, it's paulmashtv, all one word, at gmail.com. And it's good if you're a band or a solo artist and want to be on the show, but we love fan mail as well. So if you're a fan, simply email us there and talk to us. We'll always respond back. And all this is going to be recapped at the closing credits at the end of the show, so stay tuned for that. From Memphis, Tennessee, we have Crystal, the Sax Lady Brown, and she's an awesome artist there, and I think you're really going to like it. The way she plays the saxophone is just truly amazing. And we're going to get to that in just a second, and it starts right now. Okay, everybody, we're back, and with us from Memphis, Tennessee, we have Crystal, the Sax Lady Brown, with us today. Thanks for joining us, Crystal.
Thank you for inviting me.
And she plays the saxophone, and she does a really good job at it too. I've seen some of your videos, and you do a real good job of what you do. Tell everybody about how that all began for you as far as the saxophone goes. I mean, did you always want to play it? Did you just kind of stumble onto it on accident? Tell us the story about that.
Well, I heard a gospel saxophonist named Dr. Bernard Johnson play He Touched Me when I was in the 6th grade. And I was so touched by his playing. And I thought to myself, I want to play just like him. The 7th grade came and passed. I didn't think about band. The 8th grade started. I was in vocal music. I didn't like vocal music because I'm a contralto and I was forced to sing soprano, which I didn't like the music choices. And so I finally told my mom, I said, Mom, I want to get out of vocal music and get into band. Well, I got in the wrong band because I was in the 8th grade. They put me in the 8th grade band instead of the 7th grade band, which was the beginner band. So I had like a high hill to climb to learn. But the great thing was that I was taking piano. And in elementary school, I played the recorder. We had like recorders. That's like an introduction to wind instruments. And so when I talked to my mom about the only 2 instruments that they had available was the xylophone and the saxophone. And she says, well, since you're already taking piano lessons, why don't you learn something you don't know anything about? So that's how I started with the saxophone. My first song was Shaft. It was painful, but I got it. The theme from Shaft. And then my sister is a year younger than me, and my brother is 4 years older than me. He was in band, but he didn't like the instruments, but he had started playing the piano at the age of 3 or 4. And so my sister got in band in the 7th grade band. I was in the 8th grade band. So we formed our own band called the Wilson Trio. And we started playing at church and just different venues as teenagers. You know, I was 13, 14, 15, or whatever. We played until I was around 30. And around that time, my brother got really ill. And so we stopped playing, my sister and I, and then my brother passed away from complications of HIV. So when he passed, we pretty much stopped. You know, plus I was in a marriage that really didn't encourage that. So I was trying to keep peace, and I just gave up playing, period. And years later, I remarried. My husband saw my case and he said, "Is that a musical instrument in that case?" I was like, "Yeah." It's like, "Well, what is it?" I mean, he just horned in on it like, wouldn't let it go. And I was like, it's a saxophone. He says, well, play something. And I kept telling him, I used to do this and I used to do that. And so we would listen to music on the radio. He would say, see, Crystal, they're using their gift. What are you doing? And he says, can you play that? I said, well, I used to be able to play that. And he's like, I'm tired of hearing what you used to do. What can you do now? So he started inviting me to perform at. He's a Mason, and his lodge brothers had a church event, and he says, well, my wife can play. I was only playing one song, and I was playing it roughly, because I was still trying to build up my armature and everything, and it was, as I tell people, I was sucking and blowing air. And he was like, oh, put her on the program. They put me on the program. Then somebody else put me on another program. Same song, squelch, 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 until finally I started um, really paying attention to what I was doing. And I was at a church one time, and God reminded me of a vow that I made when I was 15. And I said, Lord, if you teach me how to blow, I'll blow for you. And then that just kind of shook me. I was like, oh Lord, I'm so glad you didn't take me away in all these years that I've not been playing. So I um, started playing around a little more, playing different venues. And in fact, just before COVID, um, what happened? Just before COVID, I played at there was a local restaurant called the Onyx, and I played there. On Tuesday nights, it was called um, Laid Back Tuesdays, Toosday, and I would play from say 6 to 9. There were other places downtown I would play. I had a band and everything, and then when COVID hit, everything kind of just dissipated. Um, but nowadays, I've got a sax coach. His name is Lanny McMillan. He is awesome. And I keep saying, the saying that says it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. It may be hard, but it is possible. So I'm learning to correct old bad habits and understanding theory, because I never had theory. I just hear it and I feel it, in my heart. But when you understand it, then you can do more with it.
Mhm.
So that's how I got started. That was a long way to
Yeah,
explain.
that's quite a story there, Crystal.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're doing what you're doing. Were there any other, people that motivated you like back then? Not necessarily saxophones, but maybe other people that are musicians and so forth.
Yeah, actually, my family is on my father's side is a musical family. My mother and father separated when we were small, but my father was the minister of music. He and his sister taught the late Dr. Mattie Moss Clark, who's the mother of the famous Clark sisters who sing gospel all over the world. They taught her how to play piano, and she in turn taught her kids how to play. Um, I love uh, Kirk Whalum puts it best when he says that saxophonists are frustrated singers, and I feel that that's me, because I love singing, but I don't sing out in public because you probably don't want to hear me sing in public. But I feel it. I feel the expressions of the various singers like Shaka Khan, um, um, Patti LaBelle,
Mhm.
Whitney Houston, and I had the opportunity of playing with Kirk Whalum a few times, and I was so honored and so nervous and so shaky. And my minister of music, Dr. Leo Davis, I told him that I had the opportunity to play at a venue that Kirk Whalum was performing. I was like the opening. I said, what should I do? And he's like, well, just ask him for an hour of your time. And I'm looking at Dr. Davis like, are you kidding me? Are you seriously? He is not going to give me an hour of his time. And so I spoke to him. And in fact, Kirk and my husband graduated from seminary. They got their master's at Memphis Theological Seminary together. And so I saw him. We spoke afterwards, and he was like, "Yeah, I remember you from seminary because there was an event at seminary that was a for the students it was a class, but for everybody else it was a workshop. So for me it was a workshop, but it was called um, um, theology and the arts. And so what it was the instructor, Dr. Valerie Bridgman, was taking theology and meshing it to printed art, music, spoken word, and all this kind of stuff. So each night, a different group of artists would minister. And so this night was called improvisation. So I got a text message saying, bring your horn because you will play with people you've never played with before. And so I was like, okay, well, that's fine. So when I get there to the place, I'm the oldest one there, and I'm looking, it's all guys, and I'm looking like, yeah, I look like mom. So, hey, how are you guys doing? And they're like, oh, hey, hey, hey. And I was used to that, playing with people I've never played with growing up in church because I played in church and we would play at different churches or whatever.
Mhm.
And so one of the guys that I knew told me, he says, Kirk's going to be here. And I was like, no, he's not. And he's like, yes, he is. It's like, no, he's not. And if he comes, I'm putting my horn up. And as soon as I said that, he walked in the door and everybody's like, Kirk, Kirk, hey, what's up? And I was like, oh God, oh Lord. So I'm shaking and everything. And so he goes, when he sees me, he says, oh, you got a saxophone? I said, yeah. And he says, well, I hope I'm not intimidating. I was like, yeah, you intimidate me. He says, well, that hurts my heart. I said, well, I don't know how so. And he said, so what do you do? And I told him I work in regulations for a chemical company. And he says, well, that's hard. I said, no, all you got to do is read, just read and quote and understand and make certain that things are in compliance, all that kind of stuff. He said, well, I practice every day for the last 30 days. Have you practiced every day for the last 30? And I was like, no, nope, can't say that I have. So he says, well, then we're even. And I was like, you know what? You just trying to psych me out. That's what you're trying to do. But I'm still intimidated. So then the service started so fast. And so he was like, he got up and he started playing. And so he was pointing at the organist played, the keyboardist, the bass, the guitar, all of them were jamming. And I was like, I want in like double dutch. You know how when you double dutch jump rope when you're trying to do like this and you don't know when to jump in. And so then I had to tell myself, Crystal, God gave him his gift, but he also gave you your gift. And you stay in your gift lane, stay in your lane. And so I picked up with whatever they were playing, and he turned around, and looked at me. He's like, "Come on, come on!" So I started playing. I was playing. You talk. He has a song called "With All My Might." I was playing with all my might that day. So moving forward to when I talked to him at this other venue that was like 3 or 4 years later, he says, yeah, I remember you. I remember you. I said, well, can you just give me just an hour of time? I just want to, talk some things. I'm picking my horn back up and at my age and everything, what should I look for? All this kind of jazz. And he was like, sure, sure. I wasn't expecting him to say sure. So I was like, okay. He says, well, I'm traveling. Here's my card. And when I get back, next month, let's set for next month. So he gave me his card. It had an email on it. And I was like, okay, I can't call him, so let me email him. First time I emailed, didn't get anything. Then I waited. I said, well, let me try this again. So I waited like 2, 3 weeks later and I emailed him again. And he emailed me back and I was like, he said Friday, and it was Tuesday. I was like, or whatever day it was. And he says, let's meet. He gave me the address of his house and everything. And I ran to get a card, because when somebody's blessing you, you want to be a blessing to them too. So I got a gift card from a local Midtown restaurant because I felt like he and his wife were Midtown-ish esque or whatever. They live in Midtown. So I was like, they probably would like this place because it's a nice, quaint place. And so when I went over there and I saw Ruby, his wife, and hugged her, and he's like, "You remember Crystal?" And she was like, "Oh yeah." And I'm saying to myself, "Y'all don't remember me? Okay, I guess maybe you do. Maybe you do remember." And so we went to his studio. It was a serious studio too, and he prayed. That was the first thing he did was pray. He said, "Let's pray first." And I was like, "Okay, all right, we're on a good start." And I was there for like an hour and a half, and it was more like ministry than anything else. I mean, we talked about music, but more about worship and um, the music that you played, not necessarily gospel, but just music that uplifts people. And so those were the things that we talked about, and I was like, wow, wow. So a lot of people, I listen to a lot of music, a lot, listening more so now to the late greats like Cannonball and oh, I'm drawing a blank right now. Um, but they'll come to me. Some others that I'm listening to learn style and understand. Sonny Liston and I mean not Sonny Liston, but well, it'll come to me.
Well, you did mention a couple good ones, Shaka Khan and Whitney Houston. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know too many people that don't like them, and that they really got really good talent. But right now, I mean, a lot of people could be watching this interview and they would want to get to know you more, like on social media and on streaming platforms if you're on it. Why don't you tell everybody where we can find you at?
Well, you can find me on Facebook, Crystal Sax Lady Brown, Instagram, that's Sax Lady 718. All of them. If you type in Sax Lady 718, you'll find me. Instagram, TikTok. I'm learning TikTok. I'm being more entertained with TikTok than anything. TikTok, Twitter, yeah, all of them. And my Facebook, I mean, and my website is saxlady.net. So the Sax Lady 718 is July 18th is my birthday, just in case anybody wants to know.
Okay.
So that's where the 718 came from.
Or are you on any streaming platforms as well, or like iTunes and Amazon, so forth?
I am on not yet.
Mm.
Not yet. Not yet. I'm getting there. I'm being kind of pushed from different sides to jump in there and just do it. I've got a friend that we've been collaborating on some music, and he was like, "Crystal, you just need to put it. We just need to get you out there." And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay." As my husband keeps saying, "When is your next CD?" Oh, when is your next CD coming, Crystal? You've done one, and that was 2015. It's time for something else. So so yeah, then there's that.
Okay. Well, everybody goes to those social media sites as we just discussed, TikTok,
Right.
Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and I know she would love you for that, and I know she would tell you a lot more than what she's telling you now anyway. So
Right.
um, we're getting ready to watch this music video from you. It's actually a cover of Pharrell Williams' "Happy," which is a really good song, and I remember that from years ago.
Yeah.
Why did you pick that song in particular? Is that one of your favorite songs, and that's why you chose that?
It is. It is one of my favorite songs, and I like the way that words like um, the ceiling is the sky. Just you're just you're not in as my grandmother used to say, you're not in Lodabar. Coming from the Old Testament, where I think it was King Saul's son Mephibosheth, whose feet were crippled, and he was down in Lodabar, just in the darkest place, obscure from everybody. But with Happy, it's bright, it's uplifting, it's just excitement, and that's even when I play, I one of my goals, one of my prayers when I'm playing is that people will be uplifted. And some have shared with me that they were uplifted or encouraged through the music that I shared. Um, and I know a lot don't say anything because a lot of times we don't have the opportunity to share with the people that really impress upon us. So that's why I picked that song, was because it was so bright and so uplifting and so exciting.
Yeah, exactly, and it does actually make a lot of people happy. So,
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
and like I said, that was a few years ago, as I said. But anyway, we're going to watch that in just a moment. But Crystal, thank you for so much for being on the show. I think we're
Thank you.
about out of time, but we'd love to have you back again sometime if you have anything new to plug for us, and we'd love to
All
have.
right. Thank you. Thank
You.
you so much.
Okay, and here's our cover of Pharrell Williams' "Happy," and this starts right now.